Hi, I'm Parker, and I use they, them pronouns.
Hi, I'm Mike, and I use he, him pronouns.
Trying to remember.
I'm trying to remember. And welcome to
the Graphic Novel
Podcast. Hi, and welcome to another edition of the Graphic Novel Podcast. This is a show where we discuss graphic novels, zines, mini comics, and throw in a little bit of real life.
Sometimes we're talking about queer issues. Sometimes we're talking about race issues. Sometimes, like today, we're talking about death. And lots of times we're talking about some form of relationship.
History, all kinds of stuff. We have a new episode every week, every Friday. And if you like the show, we'd love it if you gave us a 5-star review on your favorite platform, or if you gave us a review on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, any one of those places would be wonderful.
Wherever you listen to your podcast.
You can interact with us on Twitter, Facebook, and Insta.
Make sure that you subscribe so every week when this podcast episode, the new one, goes live, shows right up in your feed, and we'll be there waiting for you. That sounded kind of creepy. We'll be waiting for you.
And if you visit us at anchor.fm/graphic novel podcast, you can actually leave us a voice message.
If you want to help our podcast grow, best thing you can do is share us with your friends.
That's right, share us.
And give us reviews.
Reviews and sharing is always good. Happy New Year, Parker!
Happy New Year!
Woo!
2020 is behind us.
Not by much, and it's not far enough, believe me.
Will it ever be far enough behind us? I mean, really.
Like we discussed in our last show of 2020, there was good stuff happened to us too. I mean, for us personally, it wasn't a horrible year, but it's still.
But it also was. I mean,
yes, there was bad, but there was good too.
It was a bit of a.
It really was a mixed bag. If the pandemic wasn't here, it would have been a lot different year.
It would have been an amazing year if the pandemic wasn't here.
Probably. But anyhow, welcome to the new year. Episode 60-something, 66 or 67. I forget exactly which one. But
oh, that's good.
This is episode 67. And it's the beginning of the new year. We're starting out with a couple things. We got an amazing main book review today. Also have a preview of another book.
Do you want to apologize for last week's episode? 2 weeks ago episode.
What about it?
The combination of books.
Oh yeah, we did Crash Course, which was a great book by Woodrow Phoenix. But we also did a preview of Happy Hour, which has nothing to do with drinking. But if you read the two together, it Crash Course is about automobiles killing people, and Happy Hour.
He didn't go into drinking and driving, did he?
Well, in the essence that you can use a car as a
distracted.
Murder weapon.
I mean, he talked about distracted driving, but I don't think he even went into.
No.
Anyway.
But it was just a bad combination of things to put together.
I mean, not really. If you said it wasn't really, I don't remember. Yeah. It was so long ago now, but
yeah,
it wasn't really about drinking. It was just called Happy Hour. I can't remember.
Yes, it was. It was about people who are
happy all the time.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That wasn't so bad then.
No, but the title, if you listen to it, it's like Happy Hour and Crash Course. Oh, that's. And he did. Woodrow did comment on our Twitter feed saying that he never uses the word accident, which we may have used when we were talking about about reviewing the book. But he doesn't use the word accident.
Understandably,
because it's not an accident. That's something that's not meant to happen. I mean, nobody.
Did we have this discussion?
I don't know.
We may have had this discussion,
and maybe that's why he said it. Something about it. Yeah.
Okay.
But anyhow, so yeah, and this year we're gonna have. I've got a bunch of books ordered. So we'll have a bunch of those, and we might throw.
I know things show up in the mail, and what are you doing?
And we've got a few more.
I know what you're up to.
A few more previews that we've gotten from something from Fantagraphics, and another one.
Mike is not easy to buy gifts for because as soon as he wants something, he goes and just buys it.
Well, I bought a bunch of books.
Not immediately.
I bought a bunch of books for the show. That's what
I know.
But we have a couple of old books too that we might throw in this year, like we did last year. Throw some stuff in.
Yeah, we do still have quite a.
Yeah, we have a lot of.
Although I was looking today, I was like, what do I want to read just for fun?
Yeah.
and I couldn't find one. Everything on those shelves out in the hallway there are all we've already read.
Well, there's a good one by Nate Powell. We should probably read. We can do that, a review of that one.
Okay.
Anyhow, so we've got something special. Oh, this is one.
Are you excited?
I am because I haven't opened it yet. This is one of those things that.
Do you have something to open it with? Because my fingers
do.
are shot.
I do.
Okay.
It's one of those things that you said that I kind of do what I want. I don't see. I don't have any good stuff. But we're gonna do an unboxing here.
Oh yeah, you should have found like a ripping open sound. You can just do it with the.
So I got this box. It's from Fantagraphics.
All of our cheering fans here.
Purchased it.
Gotta make them very happy. They're so excited. Don't let them down.
I won't let them down.
Don't
Purchased
let
it
them down.
Black Friday, I think it was, at the Black Friday sale that they had.
Who was it? Fantagraphics.
Fantagraphics. Yeah. It was something that
they finished. It was like the girl who died laughing. They just stopped.
They're all dead.
They just stopped mid laugh. Woo!
They couldn't help it. All right, I haven't opened this box yet, and it's heavy, so I'm assuming it's what I ordered.
Wouldn't that be funny if it wasn't?
Oh my god! No, it said that it is. I got some.
Saying it was covered.
Here it is.
Here it is. Let's see.
Slip.
Packing slip, very important part of this process.
Little signed card from Mr. Peter Bagge.
Very nice. Gotta make sure to keep that with the book.
This is The Complete Hate
by
Peter Bagge.
Wow.
It is.
That was a fucking good purchase.
It is very cool. Solid hardcover, 3-volume. Collecting.
I love his artwork. I just love it.
It is so good. Collecting the riotous 800-page.
Wow, that's fucking heavy. There was nothing else in there.
Plus saga of Buddy Bradley, Lisa Leavenworth, and all of their pathetic loser friends. Now we read one of his books, which was apropos for 2020.
The Apocalypse book, right?
Yeah,
That's Peter Bagge.
Apocalypse Nerd, which was a good book. I mean, it was.
What I really loved. I mean, I liked the book
because it was a local. It was a local,
but it had Cedar Woolley.
Yeah, exactly. And I knew you would like that, but yeah, it had.
It's so silly because I really don't like my hometown that much.
Yeah, but
anyway, oh God,
yeah. So this includes all of them, all 39 issues of Hate and Hate Annual, plus an additional 150 pages of other Hate treasures, backup strips, covers, memorabilia, rarities, and much more, including a new introduction and cast of characters guide by Bagge, in addition to all new covers for each volume.
Very cool.
Yes, this is awesome. And I read Hate. I got started on Hate back in the 90s when
oh, come on.
It didn't work. Oh, there it is.
Comics.
Yeah, it's stuck for some reason. Or maybe because I hit it more than once.
Yeah, you just keep pushing it and hoping
it wasn't working. But yeah, so I started reading it back then. Early issues, 10, 14.
Have you ever thought about if that thing falls while we're recording?
Yeah, I'll be dead.
No, you'll just be injured.
It'll break my neck.
No, that side will loosen. And it go. Whoosh.
I put it up properly.
I know you did. I just picture it happening because I'm a weirdo like that.
But this is an amazing item, and I can't wait to completely open it.
I'm so excited. There's a card, signed card. Too.
Yeah, signed book plate.
Is it a book plate?
Yeah, it's called book plate.
Can I see?
Signed book plate by Peter.
Oh, very nice.
Now I mentioned this. I mentioned this last year.
Is this a new logo?
Yes, it is. They did a new logo this year too. They came out with that.
Okay, that's cool. It's a nib, right?
It is
with a little flame or something.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Very cool.
And
I like that.
Yeah. I mentioned this. I can't say last year in 2019 when we went to the Short Run Festival, and I actually met him.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he was sitting at a table with a bunch of his stuff, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, "Wait, are you Peter Bagge?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, it's nice to meet you. I used to read your stuff back in the 90s." And he's like, "Oh, thanks."
He's like, "Yeah, you hear that every time."
Loser. I'm like, "Okay, well, I just spent some money on you, okay?"
Did you buy something from him?
This.
Oh, just now, not at the thing.
No, I don't believe I bought it.
He's like, oh, you read my stuff in the 90s.
Yeah,
Here's
I don't-
plenty of my new work.
I don't
Why don't
give a
you
shit about
check that
that.
out? That wasn't nice.
No, I'm just kidding because I read
Apocalypse Now.
Apocalypse Nerd.
Nerd.
And,
Apocalypse Now.
yeah,
Isn't that a game or something?
Apocalypse Now was a movie.
Oh,
was it? A war movie.
Oh, well, that makes sense why I wouldn't remember it then, because I did not watch it.
No. All right, but yeah, that's an awesome item, Fantagraphics and Peter Bagge, and can't wait to get through that, look through that. There's no way we're going to be able to review that whole thing, but I will give a review of the whole thing. This was just the unboxing of it. I thought it was pretty cool. What? What?
Nothing.
What are you laughing about?
Nothing.
All right. All right. I do have one review today. It's from Ahoy Comics. It's called Edgar Allan Poe's Snifter of Blood. It's issue number 2. And the main story that I read, there's a couple stories, but the main story is called The Monster Serials, To Hell Comes a Guest. And Monster Serial is Serial. But when you talk monster cereals, you think about Count Chocula, Boo Berry, Frankenberry. And this is a play on all of that. It's a vampire he's a vampire. I mean, he's Count Chocula, basically. And there's Tony the Tiger's there. How did you find our breakfast flakes, Duke Antonio? They're glorious. I mean, the whole thing is just funky. There's a who's this guy? He is from the Emerald Isle. Oh, he must be from Lucky Charms. He must be the guy from Lucky Charms. And it's just, I mean, the
magically delicious.
I mean, the artwork is really good.
Wow.
I mean, it's really good.
Not what I imagined.
Yes, but it's
You'll
this,
never catch me, Lucky
weird,
Charms.
This weird story about Dracula, dead and undead, like we are all, but the consequences of sins committed long ago. They asked him how he likes his cereal, or how he likes eating people, and he's like
eating people,
because he's a vampire. He's like, if you dare spread your calumny outside these walls, it's too late, my love. Chocolate, they taste like chocolate. That's who people taste like to him when he.
It's like how all meat tastes like chicken, right?
It must be. But and then there was another story too. The Tipple of Amontillado, and it's the summer 1846, the home of Ralph Waldo Emerson. And in the stories, Henry David Thoreau, Edgar Allan Poe, Francis Sargent Osgood, Margaret Fuller, Ralph Waldo Emerson, and Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. And what's going on is they're sitting around having like some drinks, and Poe is telling this story, and they're like guessing parts of it as he's telling it. So he gets to a part, and he's like, "No, I'm going with the other ending." You know, it's like,
oh my God.
It's like because they're all famous writers and stuff, so they're all able to guess what his story is, and they're able to put it together. And then finally, he's like, "Nope, I'm going with the other ending." But but it's good. I like it. That one's a black and white story. There's a little flash of color in like the wine, but the first story is full color, and it's from Ahoy Comics. And I thought it was pretty good. It was fun.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Sounds
you do like your cereal.
Magically delicious.
Do they?
That's what I have too. That's what I have right now.
I know. You love your cereal. You always have.
Mm-hmm.
You always eaten cereal.
Do they have what?
I don't remember.
All right. Anything else before we get on to our book of the day?
I don't think so.
All right. Back to the music. This book, first of all, apologize to Mr. Derk Backderf, because a couple months ago I said that we were going to get to the review, but there was no way that we could get to it. It's a huge book, and it's a lot to take in.
Yeah, and I wanted to give it the time it deserved to.
Yeah. But this book is Kent State.
Or Dead in Ohio.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the book?
On May 4th, 1970, the Ohio National Guard gunned down unarmed college students protesting the Vietnam War at Kent State University. In a deadly barrage of 67 shots, 4 students were killed and 9 shot and wounded. It was the day America turned guns on its own children, a shocking event burned into our national memory. A few days prior, 10-year-old Derk Backderf saw those same guardsmen patrolling his nearby hometown, sent in by the governor to crush a trucker strike. Using the journalism skills he employed by My Friend Dahmer and Trash, Backderf has conducted extensive interviews and research to explore the lives of these 4 young people and the events of those 4 days in May when the country seemed on the brink of tearing apart. Kent State, 4 Dead in Ohio, which will be published in time for the 50th anniversary of the tragedy, which was back in May of 2020. Whoops.
Well, what happened was, because of the pandemic, they pushed it from an April release or a May release to September, I believe. They pushed it off some
so
months.
It didn't come out in May.
It didn't come out on time.
Oh, okay.
Because he was supposed to go on a book tour and
but
all
May
kinds of...
was the 50th anniversary.
It was supposed to go on a book tour and all kinds of stuff. So he was doing a lot of promotion
I
around it.
I remember. We talked about this.
Yeah,
before.
during when it was coming out, because this was also then when June hit and the Black Lives Matter protests began in earnest, and he just started calling out parts of his book, how it related to today.
Yeah, I mean, reading a lot of it. Well, let me finish. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, 4 Dead in where am I? Kent State, 4 Dead in Ohio, which would have been published for the 50th anniversary of the tragedy, is a moving and troubling story about the bitter price of dissent, as relevant today as it was in 1970.
Yep. So a little bit about Derk Backderf. This is from his own website.
Okay.
Derf sold his first cartoon, a nude portrait of his 6th grade teacher, for $2 to a classmate who used it for unspeakable purposes.
Oh, man.
Today, he is one of the most widely read indie comics creators. Wow. The writer artist who works out of an unheated attic studio in his Cleveland home. There's no way it's unheated in Cleveland.
Yes, it is unheated, but he has a heater there. He must. In Cleveland, unheated.
He grew up in a rural small town in Ohio, an experience that was the inspiration for his graphic novels, Punk Rock and Trailer Parks, Trashed, and the international bestseller, My Friend Dahmer. To date, his books have been translated into 16 languages.
Maybe he works well in cold weather.
He was an art school dropout, and...
how dare he?
Yep. And he started working at the publishing in the Cleveland edition in 1990 and selling to other alternative papers.
Very cool.
He won an Eisner Award for Trashed, was nominated for 2 other Eisners, and also received multiple Harvey, Ignatz, and Reuben Award nominations. Also, recipient of a prestigious Robert F. Kennedy Journalism Award for political cartoons in 2006. And I have to say that he's been, this book has already been translated into multiple languages. It's been reviewed around the world, and it's already nominated for many awards, and it is rightly deserving of probably winning many of these. This book is a horrible story that he told. I mean, he tells it. It's amazing the way he tells it. It is beautiful. His artwork, I love his artwork. It's a little like Peter Bagge. It's a similar kind of vein to it. That's kind of style almost.
I think it's a little more realistic than
a little more realistic. Yes, you're right. A little more realistic, but it's still a comic, and you know that you're not looking at somebody who's trying to make it look like it's a photograph.
Right.
Extensive research.
Oh my gosh! Like
extensive research.
So let's just. You were alive, but very young.
I was alive, and I remember
and
hearing
close. I mean, not close,
far,
but
yeah.
Not far from Buffalo. Do you remember hearing the stories about this?
Family
talking about it.
1970, right?
Yep.
I mean, I was 6, and I probably saw things on the news at the time. And over the years, I remember hearing about it, but I never really delved into the story. I knew that the National Guard had shot and killed students. I mean, I knew the basic story. But when you read this detail and you find out that he went and he interviewed a lot of people and he talked to people and he made this book about, certain people and he wrote their story, and it is so good.
The 4 that were lost,
Yeah.
he focuses on.
Yeah. I mean, there were a lot of other people, and he goes through. There's some
not lost. They were murdered. Sorry, I'm not going to put it that way because that's not. They were not lost. They were murdered.
They were murdered by National Guard, who at the same time, some of them were overworked and overstressed, and brought to the point where they believed that there were snipers on every rooftop waiting to shoot them.
Well, right, because the rumors spread so quickly between these people who are working on no sleep. I'm not even going to make fucking excuses. Like, fuck them. I'm
No. I agree. It should not have happened. But
yes, it happened
because
the rumors that spread that there were snipers on the roof, and then they see someone.
Sheriff and all these people just fucking spreading false rumors.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, you've got all these things going on. You know, there's all this tension. It's about the Vietnam War, and these students are protesting. Kent State itself was a liberal
colleges
area.
Across the country were protesting. It's not like Kent.
It's during the Nixon era. Nixon had something to do with this. No different than what was the other book we recently read that Nixon had a finger in too?
I don't know. Fuck Nixon.
I know. Well, he's dead. I wanted to fuck him, but yeah. So I mean, so Derf goes through and he highlights the stories of these people and basically, you know, how it all unfolded and using all different things. He used what he thought was the most probable way that it unfolded based on all of the reports and personal histories of people and stuff. I mean, that's what he said. This is the way I think it unfolded.
Right.
And when you're writing a history book, you know, sometimes that's what you got to do. You pick what you think is the answer.
Well, because especially when you find, you know, different stories about what happened and what supports what, and you can only go on that. You can't travel back in time yet.
Right.
And watch it happen. Right. So you have to go with, I think a lot of times historians have to kind of go with their gut on stuff.
Yeah.
And you just kind of hope that they are going in with an open mind, I guess.
In the end,
it doesn't even matter. Exactly.
Because these National Guard shot an unarmed student. Yep. Almost every one of them was shot in the back as they were running away.
Yeah. Like you don't really have to do too much research to figure out that they were defenseless. You know, just kids.
Yep.
Just kids.
Exactly.
You know, and I know the one student that he talked about, he specifically wrote that he was wearing a shirt that you know stood out. It was easy to pick him out of the crowd, and he was you know, he was loud and he was killed.
Yeah.
And it's like anytime you read stuff that, especially I've read a lot during the Black Lives Matter protests that have been going on this year, because a lot of new people were going out to protest that hadn't done it before.
Right.
And so there was a lot of reminders to, you know, make sure that you're wearing black, you know, make sure that you're wearing dark colors, something that's not going to make you stand out.
Yeah.
Obviously masks, but that was more about the pandemic.
Yeah.
This time around and stuff about cameras and cell phones and, you know, making sure people know where you are and all that stuff. But so that was one thing that stood out to me, was the fact that he pointed out what he was wearing, and that makes you go even more, well, clearly he was intentionally murdered. You know, not like they just shot into the crowd or whatever. Like this guy was
somebody that they could pick out. Yeah. They didn't just start shooting wildly. They were aiming at people because they claimed they thought they were being fired at. That's what they said. Although I don't think any of them were hit, were they?
No.
But yeah, they had.
Wait,
I think there may have been, but they might have been
by themselves, by their
because
own
they were
people.
coming around. Is that what it was? They were coming around.
Well, they were in a play field, or they were in a play field.
Yeah. So, and that was one of the things they
because they were trying to intimidate somebody and they marched like the wrong way, like they put themselves in a really bad position.
And the people in charge,
because you know they were really on top of things.
This is National Guard in Ohio. People in charge, they were using World War II bayonets. I mean, and they did at different points before this. They actually used the bayonets on these students. They stabbed them. I mean, it was just fucking crazy.
Yeah.
No different than watching Black Lives Matter protests in Seattle or New York or even Buffalo, where they pushed a fucking old man down. But where where they were tear gassing and
Mhm.
running them over with cars and pushing them down with bikes and all kinds of shit.
Yeah, I can't believe we are still using tear gas today, and it's like not even something that you think twice about. I mean, I do because it's bullshit, right? But
Yeah.
like people in other countries are like, you're still tear gassing your own people. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, we also don't have health insurance, so they don't care.
Well, exactly, that too.
Yeah. So I mean, just knowing that this whole story. I mean, the ROTC is on campus.
Oh yeah, ROTC. The first time I heard ROTC, it was on a podcast, I think this year. But he spells it out ROT
so you
dash SEE.
Yeah.
So you say ROTC. I had never heard it. It's always just been ROTC. I don't know that if I just heard somebody talking about it and calling it ROTC, I don't think I'd know what they meant.
Right.
But there was an argument between these two hosts of the podcast about
how to say it,
how it was said, and if they'd ever heard it said right. They weren't like arguing over what was the correct way. They were just, I guess it was really more discussing. This is how I've heard it say, and I've never heard it said that way before. Are you sure that's what you've heard or something? I don't know.
So the ROTC was a big deal on the campus. The anti-war people didn't want them on the campus, but there were students that were part of it, and one of them is one of the major characters in the story.
Right.
I mean,
but it sounds like he's not really as into it as the other ROTC people are.
Well, I guess
was there ROTC when you were in school?
Don't remember.
Okay,
I didn't join, so I don't know if there was.
I don't think that there was ROTC at my high school. There may have been, but I know there was at the neighboring city. But I had no idea what it was when I was growing up.
Right.
I may not have even known what it was until I met you, and you said something about it for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that. I mean, it was a way for people to avoid being drafted, and they could jump right into an officer position in the service. I mean, and that's the main reason they do it.
Now?
Well, back then, that was why they did it. I mean,
back then, was it in high schools too? Or I mean, he talks about it.
It's in college. It's 1970.
Right.
I mean, I was in kindergarten or whatever, but
I wonder because it's in high schools now.
Right. Yeah, and I know they have it at one of the colleges in Seattle.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm assuming that's what it's still called, something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Because you see them on campus.
That hasn't changed, but I really fucking hate it. I hate everything about it.
But it's a public campus, public money, and they accept federal money, so they probably don't have a lot of choice but to accept
you're probably right.
You know, to let them on campus. But why don't you pick some of the stuff that you've gone through?
Well, so this isn't a story really that I knew anything about, which speaks to our public education.
Well, at the same time, it's not something that, I mean, is it something that should be taught in school? I mean,
U.S. history, absolutely.
U.S. history,
absolutely.
Well, I never learned about the Vietnam War in school, so I didn't even get that far.
I did not learn it from this point of view. And not even that this is a point of view, but like it was just like a stated fact, like this is what happened.
This was really an anti-war thing, so I don't know if they would teach that in school either.
But they should. I mean, why would you not? This was a huge part of our history. And like it says in the thing, like we turn guns on our children. Like this is a huge part of our history. And we fucking keep doing it. Yeah. We keep doing it.
Yeah.
We don't. People were after Sandy Hook.
After Sandy Hook,
people were like, "This is going to change the world." Or not the world, our world, the country, because now
yes,
children.
Exactly.
Dozens of children were killed.
Yep. Didn't make a fucking dent.
Nothing.
Not a dent. These people are still working. It's been 8 years. December 14th, I think it was, was the 8th year anniversary, and nothing has changed. These people are still fighting. The people with their dead children. The people from Florida,
6-year-olds.
Well, the people from Florida too. Their kids. They lost their high school students.
Oh yeah,
same thing.
Pulse, yeah.
From what?
Yeah, I'm sorry, not Pulse.
Marjorie.
Yeah, God damn. There's been so many fucking shootings we can't even.
Exactly. David Hogg.
God. I'm thinking of the pole shooting at the nightclub in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was thinking of. You're talking about the high school.
Mm-hmm. But the same thing. But all of these, and nothing has changed. The only thing that may have changed is this year, there were record numbers of young people voting. That may have been a change.
Yeah, but that wasn't, I don't think that was because that had anything to do with guns. That had nothing to do with changing guns.
It was anti-Trump, which related to anti-gun too.
I don't think so.
Not at all.
I don't think so.
I'd like to think that there's some correlation.
I mean, sure. I'd like to think that too. I don't think that's the case.
Right.
This is the least number of mass shootings. We're at the lowest rate of mass shootings since everything's fucking closed down because of COVID. Exactly. This is our best year yet. Yeah. But instead of everybody dying by gun wounds, they're dying from COVID instead.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so talk a little bit about some of the things.
So my point being, none of this was history that I really knew anything in depth. My father was a history buff. He loved all things history, and I haven't had the chance to talk to him about this yet, but I do plan on it. I mean, he
might like that.
I'm sure he would love this book. And so I'm gonna let him borrow it. We probably should have bought him a copy for Solstice. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
But I think he'd really enjoy it. Even though he's not into comic books, there's just so much history here. I think he'd really enjoy it. Anyway, and he probably already knows the history of Kent State, which I didn't. So that was my point. Was I did love the background that they went into. You know, he didn't go real in depth into the character of the people, but he did just enough that you kind of got that personal feeling of them, you know, playing in the band, and they're just living their lives. They're just college students.
Yep. With the draft hanging over their head, some of them have already draft numbers, and they're hoping that they're not going to get called.
And so that was another thing that I learned. I mean, I knew about the draft, and I knew the way that it worked, but it does talk about that the rich people who wanted to get around it could.
Well, and that was the one thing. I don't know if it was from here I read or what, but the draft deferments. How this was how a lot of kids avoided the draft by staying in college. Sometimes they'd stay in extra years. They wouldn't graduate right away, so they could, you know, avoid the draft. And then because there wasn't enough people, they changed it. They made it harder to do that.
Right. They changed the system, the way that it worked. Old enough to die in Vietnam, but not old enough to vote against the creeps who send us there.
Yeah.
That's one of the pages I have marked because that was so.
But that's the same thing they say now. They're old enough to die, but not old enough to drink or old enough to smoke weed, you know?
Right. I recently heard that they want to change the voting age to 16.
They're discussing that, yeah.
Because they had even in the book talked about at 21, the voting age was 21 at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Which I didn't even know was a thing.
Yeah, it was 18 when I first voted, so I never knew any different.
Me too. I have voted in every single election.
Yeah.
Big and small.
Yep.
I'm fucking proud of that.
Yeah, you should be.
And it was funny. I looked up because we had mail-in voting.
Right.
And you can look up your voting record.
Yeah, your history.
You can't see, you know, who you voted for or whatever. It just shows you that you voted. So I wanted to check my parents and make sure that their votes had been counted, which they had been, which is a really awesome thing, but I can't remember the website, so I can't even tell you where to go for next year, but you won't remember anyway, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, and so it pulled up my dad's voting history, and he has voted in every election, every primary, everything since. I mean, it went back to, I think, 94 was the first one, or 92 maybe, that they had an electronic record of. And I was like, God damn, that's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like, no wonder I'm and I remember my dad, he would go to the Grange over by my elementary school, and that's where he voted. And I don't know if he ever took us with him, but he voted every time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's where I got my civil learning, civil stuff from. What is that called?
Yeah. Uncivil.
No, not uncivil. I'm thinking.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but our listeners don't. But you do, so it doesn't matter. You know, what is it? Civics.
Yes.
Civic duty. That's the word I'm looking for.
That is exactly it. Yeah.
I knew it would find its way out of my mouth at some point. Anyway, I did like that, and I liked, they talked about it being a party town, and a lot of the book was like getting to know these characters.
Well,
there was a lot of characters.
There were a lot of people involved,
and it kind of jumped around quite a bit. Just giving little glimpses into their lives.
It's a big book. How many pages is it?
A lot.
But what it is the college itself was liberal, but the town around it was not extremely liberal.
280.
And the people, the old rural people there, they weren't real fond of the liberal college students either.
Oh my God.
You know?
I have to read the epilogue. Should I not? Can I read the epilogue?
Okay. Not yet.
The other thing I really loved about the book, I only have 2 of the things that I've marked. The references, the notes that he took and then puts in the back of the book for sources, for background information, all of his notes. I mean, certainly not all of them, because damn well he had a lot more notes.
Right.
But I mean, his notes go from page 254 to 279.
Yeah,
that's a lot of notes to have in there
in a comic book.
In a comic book,
yes.
But even some.
No, you're right. You're right. I always have all my references in my history books. I don't usually do notes.
And he has a prologue, I guess, in there too.
Yeah, but yeah, there's just so much, and it's a black and white book, but it is just detailed. His art is very detailed.
I mean, and it builds up to the day. I mean, the day itself isn't even all that much.
Yeah, there's just so much building up to it. Just like you said, so you get to know a little bit about the people on both sides. You get to know a little bit about the National Guard people too, and some of the other and some other trashy people too that are involved,
bootlickers
and the governor and all these people who they're just trying to put down this insurrection.
And I mean, really, they're chanting
war protesters.
Guard off campus. They just want these fucking pieces of shit off their goddamn. They want to go back. They're in class. Yep. They were in class on this day.
Yeah. A lot of them were. They were just, and some of them were just walking through this area.
Walking through and get shot. Like, I can't even imagine just walking across just being in campus, first of all, and having the fucking National Guard on your campus seems mind-boggling to me. And bayonets, not fucking even guns. Bayonets.
And the one guy, when they're getting ready to do something, they're not going out there to shoot, but they're going out there prepared. And the one guy's like, "Oh, they gave me armor-piercing bullets by accident." And the other guy's like, "Well, too late now."
Too late now. Exactly. Too late now.
Too late now. We're going out there.
You better not shoot then.
Yeah, no kidding.
Nope, not even. Don't think about it. And that's when the one person they talk about, the bullet practically went through the tree, right?
Yeah. I mean,
so this other page that I have marked, we're not even. I feel I mean, we don't do it justice if we just talk about the day of, which a lot of my markings were on the day of because I didn't know a lot of the stuff. I mean, did we talk about how they? We could probably talk for hours on this stuff. Did we talk about how they were in the town that Derf was grew up in?
Mm-hmm.
They were the National Guard was there because of a trucker strike.
Right, they were trying to break the union.
Exactly.
That's what they were trying to do. So they had the National Guard there to prevent the union from doing anything. They were like helping the scab truckers get in and out of this company and stuff.
Exactly.
That was why
that's why they were able to get there so quickly
there
too.
Yeah,
because it was just hop, skip, and a jump over, and working on no sleep and
no sleep. So a lot of these guys were stressed out, and like we said earlier, they were just told that that these college students that were sniped, and they talk about the Democratic student government group. I forgot what they're called, but they had been involved in things, but by this time they were kind of broken up. And the leader,
SDS,
yes, they weren't even there. I think the leader wasn't even there at the time.
It didn't sound like they were real involved in.
No,
in it really
they were on campus and stuff, but they weren't. They were made out to be much more than they actually were. These people were just bringing all this stuff and all these rumors. That it was just all rumors. and hearsay. And they had one guy on the inside who was a student,
Terry,
who was just kind of a trashy guy.
taking pictures.
He's taking
I'm on
photos
the
of us.
yearbook. Funny, I'm on the yearbook, and I've never seen you there before.
And everybody knows. Nobody trusts him, and they all know. But the FBI and the local sheriff and everybody else, CIA, he claimed he worked for, all these things, nobody would ever claim that he actually worked for them.
And it's so not shocking to read about these fucking generals, or they weren't generals, the head of the group or whatever, not generals, saying, learning about the details of their life and the things that they, not details, I guess necessarily, but like that they were wanting to be more than they were, or whatever.
Yeah, I mean? the leader of the local local National Guard and of the state.
He lists like their accomplishments, which I put in air quotes because they aren't really accomplishments.
Right.
But it's like you can tell that they wanted more. Like the bloodshed was something that they could, like they probably put Kent State on their list of accomplishments. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Is that something really that they could?
I doubt it.
Put on their list.
But to them, you fucking bet they.
That was a fucking debacle, and everybody denied any involvement. They all denied that. Nobody would admit that they gave the order, because somebody said that there was an order to shoot, and they all denied it. Everybody denied it.
Exactly.
But again, it was about to the cameraman, who he's still alive, and I don't think he would talk, right?
I don't.
I think he tracked him down.
I don't remember that detail,
but I thought he did. Or there was something about him, like he disappeared, like he went off and hid somewhere. But they said that,
I love that they're passing joints to each other, and hanging out and chatting.
They're just 1970 college students.
Yes,
just trying to get through it and hopefully not get drafted. And they don't want these guys on their campus. And it's just a horrible situation, and then a horrible set of circumstances that causes it to happen. And nobody didn't they say that they switched rifles and everything so they could never prove who actually shot too?
Oh yeah,
they switched rifles with each other so they could never say, well, he's the one that shot that, because they could trace the bullets to the guns. And although according to stuff that you've read, ballistics isn't 100% accurate either, is it?
Oh no, not at all. Yeah, no. They could probably trace it to the fact that it came from one of their guns, but that's about it.
I'm sure with some of the tracings on the bullets, they could probably trace some of them. But
the belief is that every gun has a like fingerprint, essentially,
right.
And that's just, it's not the case.
So I mean, there's just, the book is long and detailed. And the story is
ROTC actually stands for Reserve Officers Training Corps. I didn't even know that.
And it's just such a good book that, again, like some of these books we've talked about, shouldn't have had to been written. This should not have been a story that had to be written, but it's something that happened, and Derf did an amazing job.
So am I wrong that there's not really ROTC in high school?
I don't know. Why? Did you read?
Because I thought that there was, but it says here the ROTC is a group of college and university-based officer training programs for producing commissioned officers for the U.S. Armed Forces. The concept of ROTC began in 1862.
Oh, okay.
And the Kent State ROTC was founded in 1947.
Yeah.
Now maybe.
Oh, there's junior ROTC. That's what it is.
That must be what it is.
JROTC. Those are the ones that are in high school. Yep, I remember that now.
Okay.
I don't know if it was in my school, but I do remember it.
Yeah, I don't remember that it being in my school, but I'm pretty sure, and maybe it was just like seeing signs or whatever, like fundraisers and stuff for them in the next town over that I remember.
Right. So anyhow, let me take a quick look at the book.
Oh, sorry. I didn't even get to all my stickies. But
I know. There's just so much.
There's so much. I enjoyed it. I it's a part of history, and like I've said, I think before when we've read these history books, it gives you this glimpse into history that's a lot different than if you're just reading it out of a textbook.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it just gives me that extra incentive, I think, to be able to look at it from a different way.
Mm-hmm. Well, like here's one. I'm just flipping through, and here's
go for it.
One page. They kept having curfews. They wanted the students all.
Well, yeah, and you see
that
You see that anytime that there's protests
Mhm.
and stuff going on, anytime there's
Mhm.
unrest, there's
Yep.
always a curfew.
So they have this curfew, and they've got these clowns in their gas masks and bayonets walking through, and it's like
Their gas masks that didn't even fucking work either.
they didn't. And the one guy, in fact, that's what happened. The one guy's got all fogged up on the inside.
Yeah,
so
they said
he doesn't even know
they
where
all
he was
did.
shooting.
And their glasses wouldn't fit underneath, so they couldn't wear their glasses.
Yeah,
and
so
if you were
yeah.
fucking blind without your glasses, which can you imagine? Can you imagine trying to shoot somebody without? I mean, not that you would ever shoot somebody because
Yep.
who the fuck ever would, but can you imagine trying to aim something and with the intent to take someone's, like, that's what you're shooting for. If you should, I remember my dad, listen, I did not have guns in my life. Guns were not a part of my life at all, but my father did hunt. I think before I was born. I don't remember him ever going hunting after I was born, and I remember him telling me a story about his father taking him out when he first got into guns, or teaching him about guns, whatever. And he put a watermelon on a fence, and he shot the watermelon. The watermelon goes fucking everywhere, right? And he's like, you ever point that gun at somebody? That's the damage you can do.
Yep. And make sure you know what you're doing.
Yep. You better be ready for that to happen, because that's the consequence of it.
Yep. So you have on campus, you have these frat boys.
And these people have no fucking glasses on.
You have these frat boys who are like anti-hippie. So I guess they were pro. So these would be the Trumpsters today, the fascists who are claiming Antifa is the bad ones, because they don't know what Antifa is.
I saw some on Antifa. And I saw some. Do you know what you're saying?
I saw some asshole that had an Antifa hunting license sticker on his truck.
Wow.
Like, fucker.
Why does that surprise me? That doesn't fucking surprise me.
Do you even fucking know what that means?
No, they don't.
Antifa, anti-fascist. You are a fascist. So you're a pro-fascist, which means you like Hitler and you like all that. So
yes.
They don't fucking get it.
No, they do fucking get it. They do fucking get it.
But if they did, there would be no capitalism. It doesn't all go together. They don't fucking understand.
They don't make those fucking lines. You think they really draw those lines?
So you've got the curfew, and you got these morons.
You get that white supremacy is okay.
Let's show these assholes who's in charge. I hear some of them in the back of the library. So they're trying to hide. They're trying to get into this building. You know what happens
in the back of the library?
Run! There. So they're running up. They stab fucking people with their bayonets. These are college students. They just stab them. I mean, you never see what happens to them after.
One of the characters, I can't remember if it was one of the characters that they talked about, but like flipped one of the guys off or something. And he's like, I'm going to remember you.
Oh, no, that's this here. He smacks the guy with the butt of his gun. And the guy's standing there, and he's like, I know your face now, but you don't know mine. If I run into you again, I'll put this bayonet right through your nose. And then he shoves it through his hand.
That's right.
They have no. There was no recourse. Nothing.
No, they can't possibly have a conscience. They can't possibly.
Then he shoves his bayonet into the ground, comes out nice and clean. It's like, that's it. We're done. We just scared the fuck out of these punks
because that's what it's about, just scaring people. Just terrorize them. They're terrorized.
Yeah, but then the fucking president of the college, after all this shit's going down, realizes
what did I do?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't
really.
Yeah.
Too little, too late, bud.
Fucking shot all these people and everything, and they talk about how the this statue thing was put up on this hill illegally, like in the middle of the night. It was like this just this art project or something. And it's still there now because it became like part of the history.
Yeah.
And it was just there. It had been shoved up there. But they said like it rained, so they lost like all kinds of evidence that they would have had and everything. And amazing book, great artwork. I love that he does so much research and puts so much into it.
It was definitely an amazing story to see from this perspective.
And listening, following him on Twitter, definitely anti-Trump, and posting
the important
posting things about how the Black Lives Matter movement and the police were mimicking this same type of activity and the way they were acting.
Yeah, when I was reading it, that's all I'm thinking about too, is like the fact that this shit hasn't fucking changed
No.
in 50 years.
No, they're just still.
None of this changed. It's
still
exactly the
disgusting, yep.
same way.
Well, because thinking about that, because they sent.
Except they can kill a lot more people at one
yes,
time.
they sent military into the cities like Seattle. So I mean, it was no different. You know, they were military personnel walking around with guns.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this was really good book.
Highly recommend that you purchase this book.
It's definitely going to win a lot of awards.
Oh,
absolutely.
absolutely.
It's just such a good book.
I know that we'll be announcing a lot of awards that come this way. They do talk about, oh God, the one nearing the end. C Company leaves their position to investigate. The only assistance the guard offers to the dead and wounded is the boot.
The boot?
The boot, when they kick them over.
Oh, yeah, that's all they do. They don't offer any assistance. They don't try and help anybody. They just flip them over to see if they're dead or anything.
It just makes you feel so sick.
It's disgusting. These are just fucking kids, high school kids, just out of high school, you know, just out of high school. Some of them, 20, 21 years old. Yeah. They're just, I mean, this is the age that they would fucking go to Vietnam. They'd be going to Vietnam at 18 and dying.
And the Captain Snyder produces a handgun, claims he found it on one of the people who was killed. But it took 5 years before he finally admitted the truth that the gun didn't belong to Jeff and wasn't found anywhere near him.
Yep. Yeah, because it was all shit. They knew it was all shit, and they were just trying to find any way out of it because they fucked up big time. Derk Backderf and Kent State, amazing book. Great way to start. Great way to start 2021
with some history.
Hopefully 2021 is going to be a good year, and get rid of COVID as much as we can, and maybe by summer we can actually go out in public.
So let's not forget that Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
And go get vaccinated.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. My name's Mike.
And I'm Parker.
This is
the Graphic Novel
Podcast. Almost forgot the name.
Kind of important.